I was younger, I used to struggle to just get out of bed in the morning. To think about going to work felt like the most massive thing that I could possibly do, and I dreaded it, even though I loved my work as a personal trainer. I used to just fret over having to take out the trash because I'd have to get off of my butt and get off of the couch and go take out the trash because I was so tired. Everything just felt like it was all that I could do to make that phone call or to deposit a check, just the simple things in life. And they would just build up and make me feel even more tired. And now I kind of joke that I'm basically a greyhound because I have to get outside and I have to move my body and I have to work out my energy throughout the day. Otherwise, when it comes time for bed, I'm not even tired. I just have so much energy and I need help in calming down a little bit because I want to do so much. How did I go from this person who was basically a zombie to now bursting with energy and pretty much being a 10 out of 10 on the energy rating scale? I'm going to talk about the 10 most common and most impactful root causes of fatigue and how you can also, if you are struggling with fatigue, optimize it or go from this zombie-like existence to one that allows you to thrive. Before we get started on this list, I do want to remind you that there are clinical diseases that you could have that are not just about dysfunction or poor health that could be causing your fatigue. So if it is really severe, you probably want to see your doctor and rule out things like heart failure or cancer or lung disease, because those things could make you feel tired and they're not going to be completely addressed by the top 10 list I'm going to give you. Make sure to listen in closely because you're going to find that number 8 and number 4 are less obvious and you probably wouldn't have thought they'd be on this list. Number 10 is the lack of movement. When we are sedentary, which could mean either we're sitting all day long because of our jobs or other reasons, or we're just not exercising. Maybe you are a little bit more on your feet during the day, but you're not really getting your heart rate up. The lack of physical activity or the lack of exercise, both of those can make you feel much more fatigued. When you exercise, you're increasing your circulation, which increases the delivery of nutrients to your cells so that they have the fuel that they need in order to produce energy for you. You're also challenging your body to make energy, right? You're saying, hey, I need more energy than I typically do in my day. Let's get better and better. And so your body becomes more efficient at making energy for you so it can be better the next time that you work out. Number 9 is toxins. Toxins are called toxins because they are toxic to your body. They damage your body's ability to produce energy. Some of the common toxins that we could be exposed to would be chemicals like plastics or parabens or phthalates or pollution, basically anything that starts with a P. There's also heavy metals, things that we could have put in our teeth, that we can be getting from our water, from rice, from smoke. And then there's also mold, which could be coming maybe not in our home, but maybe at our workplace, at our church or our school. And being exposed to these toxins are causing damage that your body is not able to make up for, and therefore we have this fatigue. I had a client once who was actually in charge of the safety of a large chemical processing facility, and she would have to go around and test for chemicals to make sure different places and air wasn't being contaminated. She was also trying to get pregnant at the time. When I evaluated her, I could tell she had all the symptoms of a high toxic burden. So we supported her detoxification processes, and she was actually even able to get out of that position and into a different one in the company. And within 3 months, her energy went from a 2 up to an 8, and she got pregnant. I told you number 8 was a little bit less obvious, which is cellular health. Okay, what does that mean? Stick with me, I'm gonna get a little bit sciencey on you, but then you're going to learn something that's gonna be really helpful. Your energy producing factories in your body are loaded in your cells and they are called mitochondria. Mitochondria can be damaged by toxins, by stress, by pretty much everything that's on this list. And if we have enough antioxidants in our mitochondria, we can heal that damage. We can live an imperfect life and be exposed to all these things that would normally cause fatigue, but if our mitochondria are producing healthy cells that can do all the things that they need to do, like produce energy for your body, you can continue to feel well. So we want to have healthy mitochondria. And one of the big ways that we do that is we have enough antioxidants to fight the pro-oxidants that are toxins and chemicals and stress and everything else. We can get more antioxidants from our diet. I have a blog post on this that you can read more about. Your body can also make more antioxidants, and the other components of this list will be things that help your body to make more antioxidants. So you have more of a buffer against the stresses of the world that cause fatigue. Number 7 is dehydration. We are majority water. Everything that happens in our body happens via water, allowing it to happen. The nutrients that you eat that would provide fuel for you are only going to do that when you have enough water to allow the digestive juices to break down your food and water to carry those nutrients to where they need to be producing energy for you. If we are dehydrated, we're slowing all that down. Your whole factory is missing a bunch of people and you're not going to make as much energy at the end of it. This is such a simple one. It's free, it's easy to do. Start drinking more water and you're going to definitely notice an increase in your energy. Number 6 is nutrient deficiencies. Some examples of the really important nutrients that your body needs in order to produce the energy it needs are vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin B12, and iron. For vitamin D, this one's really important because it helps to reduce inflammation, which is something that can make you feel a lot more fatigued. It's going to damage your energy factories, and D can kind of help to buffer and protect you from that. And then magnesium. Magnesium is needed in over 300 reactions in your body. All of these reactions that produce energy for you, magnesium is what's called a cofactor. It's one of just the building blocks that's needed for your body to do anything. And then B12 is needed for healthy nerves and for healthy energy production. A lot of people who are fatigued get B12 injections and it makes them feel better within minutes because their body has those building blocks. And the last one, iron, this is the one that we're most familiar with. When we have low iron, we have anemia. And anemia means you're not carrying oxygen to your cells. Oxygen is one of those things that you need in order to produce energy. Number 5 is stress. I think we all know this one. When we're more stressed, we feel more tired. And that's happening on 2 different levels. We have a physical type of fatigue, which this video is more about. And that physical fatigue means that your body is not functioning like it should because stress kind of slows everything down and it causes more damage. Stress actually increases toxins within the body. But stress can also make you feel more emotionally fatigued. We can feel tired because we just feel overwhelmed and we don't really want to do anything. Part of our energy needs to be addressing our emotional health and dealing with the obstacles that we have in our life in a healthier way. Remember how I said earlier that number 4 was a little less obvious? Number 4 is chronic infections. And I said chronic because of course we're going to feel fatigued if we get like the flu and we have a couple days of fatigue. But we're talking about just feeling overall low energy in your life. And that can be from a chronic infection, something that's more subtle and long-term and doesn't create this big fever and these big effects. We actually, even though we can tell we have infections, we actually can have these very subtle infections that are just not as high amounts within the body, but they're still there and they're still causing the same effects as the full-blown infection would. These could be infections in our gut. We can have things like fungal overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth. But most commonly, these are viral infections. Things like mono that can cause this fatigue because your immune system is actually pouring out toxins to try to kill the bacteria or the yeast or the viruses. And those toxins, like I mentioned earlier, they are going to damage your cells and damage your mitochondria, your energy factories. If we don't win that war and these things are always provoking our immune system, then we're always in this inflamed state and we can't have the energy we need. Number 3 is hormones. And there's 2 different categories here. We've got sex hormones and we have thyroid hormones. From the sex hormones, we can have fatigue If we have an improper estrogen to progesterone ratio as women, and that means we have too much estrogen, not enough progesterone. And that will make us feel both physical and emotional fatigue. We could also, as men or women, have low testosterone, and then we can't produce the energy that we need. We might feel a little bit more fatigued, a little bit weaker, so much more of a physical type of fatigue. And then the other category is thyroid hormones. If we don't have enough thyroid hormone, then we're not actually like turning on the factory. In order to use all those nutrients, your power needs to be turned on in your mitochondria, and thyroid hormone goes to your cell to do that. You're basically keeping the power off, so all the other stuff that you do doesn't matter. When I had hypothyroidism, which means low thyroid hormone, I was doing all the right things. I had a great diet, I was sleeping well, I was exercising really well, I was keeping my stress under control, and yet I still had some fatigue. Those things had helped, but I was not where I should be. When I was able to get my thyroid into healthy ranges, I could really start making some progress on my energy levels. Number 2 is food, and this one is a little more complex, so stick with me. So we got a number of different ways that food can impact you, which is why it's number 2. It's so important. It can impact you by decreasing your blood sugar stability. If we are eating foods that cause our blood sugar to swing up and then to swing down, we're going to have a lot more fatigue. Think about kids, right? When you give them sugary stuff, they get all hyper and then they crash. And we do the same thing, just on a little bit more of a subtle level. If you're crashing an hour or 2 after your meal, or if you go too long in between meals and you start crashing, you might have some blood sugar imbalances, and that's gonna just make you feel more in a lethargic, kind of in a haze, and you don't have the energy that you need. We can also have food impact us because it's inflaming us. We talked about the negative impact of inflammation on our energy levels, and food can be an allergy, it could be a sensitivity, it could be an intolerance. All of these reactions will increase our inflammation. Food can also make you tired because of what it can do for your bowel movements. If we're not eating the right food for our gut, we could have very frequent loose stools like diarrhea, or we can be constipated. If your meals are just going right through you, you're not getting the energy and the nutrients that you need from them. If you're constipated, you're literally weighed down. Your body knows that there's a lot of work still left to do in the digestive system and is not going to prioritize you having energy for your brain or for movement. If we're not having healthy bowel movements 1 to 3 times per day, soft and well formed, then we're leaving some of our energy in our digestive system rather than in our cells. And number 1, the most impactful lifestyle habit or root cause for your energy levels is sleep. And it's not just the amount of hours that you get. We all know we need 7 to 9 hours. If you're a little bit more inflamed or working through some health issues, you probably need to be in the top half of that range. But it's also our sleep quality. Our quality is how much of the deep and the REM sleep are you getting. When you go to sleep will impact your quality. What you're doing in the hours before you sleep, what your diet and nutrition looks like. There's so many things that will impact your quality. If you're not getting all that deep in REM and you're getting 8 hours, but it's mostly light, you're going to wake up not refreshed and you're not going to have the energy that you need during the day. Just ask someone with sleep apnea. They get 8 hours usually, but they're not getting oxygen that they need in order to stay healthy during the night. And so they're not getting into that deep sleep that they need. And they could fall asleep in seconds during the day when they have sleep apnea. You need to make sure that your whole day is set up for that good quality sleep so you can wake up recovered and repaired from all the stresses and toxins of the previous day. So there you have it, the top 10 root causes of low energy levels. Hopefully you are listening for yourself and figuring out which ones apply to you most. And I would be super curious to hear from you in the comments below which ones you feel like you're struggling with and want to address more of. Maybe I can do specific videos on the ones that I see most commonly being a struggle for people. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.